IVM.
If you're broke, if you need money, if you don't have a wallet, you don't have a financial portfolio, don't bother, there's no hope for you. Or is there? His name is Anupam Gupta, Paisa Vaisa, but don't ask him for money. I asked, he gave me nothing. New episodes out on the IVM podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcast from. Kripaya dhyan dijiye, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen, yaar, don't be so conservative.
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
On Cock and Bull, we have Mikhail, Abbas and Amit. They are three different people. I'll say it slowly. Mikhail is one guy, he's a comedian. Abbas is one guy, he's a comedian. Amit is one guy, he's a comedian.
Why follow your auntie's advice when you can follow Cyrus Says on Facebook and Twitter to stay updated about the latest shows?
Kripaya dhyan dijiye, there's a huge problem with India at the moment. We have too many food bloggers and too many comedians. Something has to be done. I do believe that we need to have like a license. You have to get your license to be a comedian and your license to be a food blogger. You can't just turn up and be one of these two. There's just too many of them. And many comedians come up to me and say, I'm a comedian, and then ask me, what do you do? Which is not even funny. So I'm going to just point it out right now that we as a society have to draw a line where the ball, is you're overstepping the crease and, it's a no ball. So everyone can't be a comedian. Everyone can't be a food blogger. Please, let's stop it. Let's end it here. I'm going to take this topic to my panelists in a second because it's Cock and Bull, which used to be Cyrus Says, but after this break.
Advertising is dead. Yep, you heard me right. Advertising is dead. We're all in the content business now. Let's not call it news, TV, radio, etc., etc. It's all content, and we're in the middle of this weirdly exciting phase where all the borders and lines that have been drawn over decades has been swept away by this lovely thing called the internet. We're a show where we don't dwell on just the stuff that is now, but rather the wider stuff about advertising, media, content, and the whole goddamn circus surrounding it. Tune in every Tuesday for our weekly unboxing of the mystery box we used to call advertising. I'm Varun Dugirala, co-founder and content chief at The Glitch, and this is my new podcast, Advertising is Dead.
Yeah, lots of comedians. Two of them sitting right here. Three if you count you.
Yeah, I'm licensed, but...
You're licensed?
Yeah.
What's your picture like?
From when I was 18.
That's
it's the
good.
same as my driving license.
That's good. 18 till you die, as far as I know. In the food blogging community. Let's take food blogging first, because comedians have already mushroomed. Food blogging is the next sensation.
It is.
So
it's not the next. I think it's the previous sensation.
Yeah.
No, but they've outgrown the comedians. Or maybe a lot of comedians don't make it become food bloggers. Because that's a safety net here.
No, I think there is a difference right now.
What is the difference?
No, in terms of what used to happen 2 years ago as to compared to what happens today. I was talking to somebody who owns a restaurant. Yeah. And they're not seeing as much value in the food blogger as much as they see in the food Instagrammer.
But okay, that's the same now. That's like a cousin. Now, the guys who appeared on our podcast, Cyrus Says, coming soon, they are huge food bloggers, by the way.
We've had a few.
In the beginning.
Has been on our show, like
Nikhil.
way back when. Nikhil is
merchant.
Yes.
He's huge. He charges $100,000 just to look at the food.
Nikhil's also a chef, though. Nikhil's not just a food blogger.
No, he's no longer a chef. Now he just sits around and criticizes the food and they pay him money. So he's more like a customer.
He's opened a restaurant in LA, I think.
That was 5 years ago. After that, I've not heard anything.
I think it's still there.
LA is closed. The restaurant is open.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
All right.
But we've had more than that. We had Adarsh Munjal initially, the big booker guy.
Yes. Quickly, get me the episode. We've had some big names, yeah. So food blogging done to that. Let's talk about two comedians here because they're both practicing. He's a
food guy.
He's too old to be a food blogger. So what's the father of a food blogger
what's
called?
A blogger, right? I mean, like, what is a blogger in this context? I think that's the question here, right?
Yeah.
It's a food influencer.
Correct. Yeah, but that's a different thing because the food influencer has earned his stripes. He's like a general.
Yeah.
He's a 5-star food blogger. Okay? So that's like a totally different thing. Sorry, I've kept this because I'm sweating. Somebody's put off my air conditioning.
Is that the only remote, or does he carry a universal remote with him?
Because I'm sweating and some monkey has played with it. Who's the monkey who's played with it?
No, you took the remote.
Our Prime Minister said, keep your ACs at 22. Are we going to listen to him?
Did he say 22?
No, 18. He said 22.
He said 22, really? I thought 24.
Sorry, 24.
Yeah, 24 is
environmentally friendly. I just minus 2 because 24 just sounded wrong.
24 is not.
I mean, it's like I'm already in Rajasthan. What's the point
24
of
is
that?
not a reasonable number.
No, God.
Nobody's going to
24 is the best number.
Huh?
24 is the best number.
Is that your age?
No. Even age-wise, it's the best.
Okay. So no point going to 68 plus 1 and all those bad jokes. No, done to death. Quick word on comedians. Too many comedians.
No, you said the comedians are the food bloggers. That's because food is the payment for most shows. So that's what they end up getting.
No drink also.
Drink sometimes, but mostly food.
Say if you don't drink, can you encash the drink?
We tried. It's not a thing. It's not a thing.
Oof. All right. But do you think there are too many comedians? I mean, it's too easily a profession now, too easy for someone to say I'm a comedian. And
I don't think so.
I mean, it's easy to say you're a comedian, but what qualifies you as a comic? Because there's so many platforms now. You can be...
The other day, this guy called Kapil Sharma also said I'm a comedian. I mean, there's no limit to the kind of jokers out there. I mean, really. And I want to distinguish Joker and comedian different
that's what I'm saying. People are
Joker is releasing this Friday. Comedian is not.
And not for the first time. I've tried so many times.
You can be funny on Instagram, but not be a live performer. You can be a live performer, but not be on other platforms.
No, the other day we were rehearsing for this show which releases on October 6th at Tata Theatre called I Love Mumbai, a title I didn't want, but anyway. And they were shooting my friend Kunal, who is really not a funny man. And all he did was pull faces, and these two girls were laughing, and I was saying, you can't encourage this. He should be taxed on that alone. Bring back the jazia just for that. I want that tax.
Kunal's funny.
Okay, you're sick. You're a sick man. And your family's dentist, so they can't even help you.
Is he a comedian or a food blogger?
Every time you have a lunch...
Yeah, that's a good question.
Is he? He's not a comedian.
Is he a food blogger?
I would never consider him a comedian. He's not a funny guy.
He's an actor.
He's got no funny bone in his body. He's always angry. Amit knows it better.
He's funny, man. I mean,
he's funny on stage, but he's not funny naturally. He's not happy. He's not happy to be funny.
Yeah,
he's not like Mikhail trying to make you laugh.
He's not a jokey guy, right? He's not a guy who you're sitting with.
What do you mean not a jokey guy? He's not even close to a jokey guy.
Yeah.
He's an angry old man. He's like Amitabh Bachchan 10 years from now. What the hell are you talking about? Yeah, God. Don't get me started. Okay. He's an actor who's right now shooting a Hindi film somewhere in South Bombay and already fighting with the cast and crew. Because his trailer, the AC wasn't on or something like that. Thank God he's not.
You're the same practically.
Thank God he's not Salman. No, but I don't fight with you. I just take over the situation.
That's true.
So I don't trust these guys. I thought Abbas was one of us because he's a large man. And you told me that you don't feel cold ever. But for some reason, Deep, is it you? Have you betrayed us? Huh? Who has shut the AC?
But I'm still, is that your remote? Is this the AC
by the way,
remote?
this is supposed to be a professional program, but now we've gone into our personal issues. Yeah. No, I'm keeping it. I don't trust anyone. All right, let's start this lovely cock and bull. Enough of that rubbish about food and comedians.
Very quickly, Mikhail does a show with us called What a Player.
Yes,
we should have
W for Wednesday, W for What a Player.
Well, Wednesday and What a Player, okay.
Okay, let's go to the first topic. So the UN General Assembly is where it went down. Both the prime ministers back to back gave speeches. Imran Khan's speech was a bit more fiery than Modi's speech. He
right arm fast. To be honest, to be fair, probably second fastest bowler of his generation after Michael Holding. To all said and done.
He exceeded the 15-minute time that
this
everyone
is Pakistan.
is allotted.
They're from Punjab and time. Come on.
50-minute speech where with bulk of it criticized India and the Kashmir situation, and he pretty much said that if things go like this,
and not one word about Sarfraz Ahmed's weight gain. Not one word. Or Misbah saying no to biryanis. What's going on with this world? No.
There was talk about nuclear confrontation, which he said will have a far-reaching consequence. And then the next day, India responded to that,
saying, "But first we have Diwali."
More or less.
We scare everybody, no? Boom, boom, hey, yaar, happy Diwali. Sorry, Bangladesh, we'll give you the city back.
Our Prime Minister's speech was about climate change and how India will be more.
Did he use the word Mitro or not? Because once he says Mitro, I'm in.
Almost stopped using it now.
I love
because
it.
everybody parodies it.
Imran was on his right.
It's an early Modi term now.
It's gone forever.
So Modi has like stages.
He has eras.
What if he starts Englishifying more and more? Friends!
Now it's Deshwasiyo.
Deshwasiyo. God, he sounds like
but that includes Bangladeshis in India, no? Then because they live here, they have Deshwasi.
What about the Assamese generally? I mean, this is all a grey area for me. Okay, stop it.
Did you see the 7 languages in which he said everything is fine?
Oh, yeah.
One of them was a northeastern language.
Excellent.
Also,
good choice.
Imagine how nervous he must have been. Like, what if I forget the next one? What if I get this wrong?
I want to see his PA when his idea comes to his head and he says, I आज हम सब भाषा में बात करेगा. And that guy's like, oh God, there's 70,000 languages in this country. Can you imagine that connection?
That's what I was thinking. Trump and what's the other
Trump
guy?
can barely speak English.
Trump and Modi.
No, not Modi. The other, the guy who ran against him, but now he's with him. The Texas guy. Anyway, I can't remember his name.
That's like racist.
Chris Christie.
Ted Cruz. So they both.
Chris Christie is from New Jersey.
Chris Christie also, but Ted Cruz was at
he's from New Jersey.
at the event.
As far as
he was in New Jersey.
Yeah.
They were sitting with the
But we shouldn't talk American
live
politics without an
translation
expert.
on, right? Modi was giving a speech in Hindi, and they had the live translation earphones on.
Yeah.
So whoever
How do we
was
know
doing
he was
it,
listening to Modi? He may have been Seinfeld.
That's true, yes.
I don't know. He's like bored
so
of these.
someone in that earphone must have said everything is fine 7 times. Like everything is fine in Bengali.
Good point,
Everything is fine in Kannada. Everything is fine in Marathi.
Would he at least do the accents? Everything is fine. Bengali. Everything is fine. Gujarati. Oh boy, what fun.
But
I want to be a politician just for this. I want to be the translator. I can really screw all the other guys. Now, all the other politicians, just give them anything you want. And Mr. Trump, your banana is exposed. I can just say any line I want. Wow.
But back to the UN.
So Imran versus Narendra Modi. Let's get the Mikhail the Great view, because I think he's
It was quite embarrassing, no?
For India?
For both countries to be like seen as these children on world stage, be like, hey, why did he do this? Why did he do that?
Also, poor Pakistan, I think now they're down to a point where they just have to keep using us to get anything.
But the sad part is we are also using them to like...
Yeah, but have we really? I mean, like, as Abbas mentioned, most of the people...
It was more... Imran was more
but we're still tied to that binary that is India-Pakistan and not...
That's because I don't think we are, right? I think that's actually the thing that they have tried to... That's the one thing...
They are holding on to us.
Yeah, but
we are giving us to hold on to, right?
Well, we are giving them stuff to hold on to, but there is conflict between us. And that conflict
I personally believe if Kashmir was resolved, what will Pakistan do? I mean, from a political point of view, because their infrastructure has already crumbled. At one point, they had some industries.
If Kashmir was resolved, then hopefully they would get their economy in order and start doing some shit.
From where? 25 years ago, they were in a better position than they are now.
They'll be the world's biggest port to China.
The safety is...
So they're part of China.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
No, but safety matters, right?
I've been saying this, all Pakistanis have to learn Mandarin or Cantonese.
So when it comes to economic development, safety matters. Without safety, people are not going to invest in stuff, right? So right now, Pakistan's a country...
Case in point, the Sri Lankan B team, which has travelled there and been hit by rain and nothing else. Yeah.
For now.
Yeah.
Let's not joke about that.
All right, okay. They're still there. Okay, just kidding. Yeah, a bit sad because, like I said, I'm a big Imran Khan fan growing up, and I'm a little sad. I'm always biased for him, but slowly it's eroding a little bit because he looks like he's caught between a rock and a hard place.
And he's also, I mean, like...
The hard place being India, the rock being Kashmir.
But he's kind of very hypocritical about how his stance is.
What do you want to do?
Nothing. I don't know.
How is he going to balance his right wing, which is very strong, his clergy, his army, all this? And they can't dare not take on the Kashmir issue. They have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll be out.
Well, I don't know what his choices are. I don't know what his options are. I don't follow Pakistan.
His choices are to replace Misbah and become coach of the Pakistan team.
Actually, that's how the trajectory should have gone.
I know.
Imran Khan should have become the coach.
Terrible, yeah. I mean, what next? Kapil Dev is our Prime Minister. We discussed this. Botham is England. There was Brexit going on. It'll be like beers for everyone. What's going to happen? It might not be a bad thing. Yeah.
But him saying that once the situation in Kashmir, like once the curfews come off, things will get even worse. And like, does that expose us or...
I think he was also hoping for a Congress victory in India for a little bit, probably more partnership sort of attitude, brotherhood sort of attitude. But unfortunately, that just the gap between the two countries is getting wider for some reason, and that's a little scary.
No, it's actually
because if they do
thing.
conscription, I don't want to fight in a hot place.
It's actually a good thing in some ways, right? Because what happens is that when you have relatively extremist governments in both countries, it opens up the amount of acceptable positions for both of these countries. It opens it up because what happens is that the fact that they both take such extreme positions means that the middle is much wider than it used to be. Otherwise, the middle used to be very narrow.
I see the positive thought in the young mind of Amit Doshi.
It's not positive. It's actually, this is something that you see across the world in politics.
It's like string theory. Yeah.
It's a political science theory, right? It has to do with the fact that when you are...
So you're saying they've conspired? The two leaders have said, got into a room,
not saying they're conspired.
Watched a Sri Lanka-Pakistan match, which got washed out, and then said, we'll do this. I'll play this way, you play that way, and we'll come to the middle.
So what happens is that essentially when there are two governments or two parties which are at opposite ends of a spectrum, right? The middle becomes much wider. The number of acceptable positions that somebody on the let's just do left and right as a binary, which I mean like whatever that is, right? But if there's a hyper right wing government, then the left wing is now willing to take more free market kind of expressions. If there's a hyper left wing government, the right wing is also willing to look at more statist solutions.
Yeah.
So what winds up happening is
you're just describing Indian middle middle-aged man with a huge body in the middle and, the extremes losing control completely.
Hey, that's one way of looking at it.
But coming back to the whole thing, I don't, like you said, I wish they had toned it down. More Pakistan than us for once, because they seemed even more aggressive. But even we could have just been a little bit more like, let's talk about love, sing some Beatles songs, and play rhythm guitar. What happened to all that? That's what the UN was supposed to, that's what Shashi Tharoor was doing.
I don't think we do that stuff.
He would just stuff his hair back, look at the ladies and say, okay, girls, this is for you. I love you. I just made that song up. There ain't no song called I love you.
Is that what you think of the Beatles?
I know all my Beatles songs. Don't you dare check. Sing Hey Bulldog.
I don't know
Then
nothing
leave.
about the Beatles.
Then your red card.
The Abbey Road album was reissued, no? This week.
The Abbey Road album celebrated so many years of Abbey Road. So all these monkeys trying to walk across the road. Thinking, I don't, it's not the same thing. Anyway. Yeah. At least in England, they can walk across the road.
Yeah.
Here they run and hope they make it.
So Paul McCartney was on something yesterday or this week or something, and he was saying that he thinks Eleanor Rigby is the best song he ever wrote.
Yeah. Now this is all personal choice. What am I supposed to say?
It's his choice, no?
Yeah.
I'm just...
I think Hey Jude in a like a leap.
There's a Jude in this room right now.
Yeah. Named after the song. Born after 66. Looks like it. What's your hair model on?
Michael Jackson from the 80s.
Michael Jackson changed everything by the time he died. Yeah.
Okay, so there was a big rally for climate change last week. The face of this whole movement has been Greta Thunberg, who's a 14-year-old girl.
Right.
16.
Now, 16-year-old? 16-year-old girl.
She's 14 when she started.
Because of the climate,
16
she's
now.
looking 16. Yeah.
So there have been polarizing opinions on her. Some say that you're exploiting a kid to bring attention to climate change.
Well, to some
people
extent,
say-
yes. But what do you want people
But
to do?
who's exploiting the kid? She's leading it herself. Right?
No. But it's not like she's just pressed all the buttons here. No?
Yeah, sure.
The
But
environmental groups
She
behind
has
her.
become a face due to the backing of certain organizations.
She's a good brand ambassador because innocent, young, all that nonsense.
So are those good qualities?
I
for
hate
a-
those qualities. I'm old. I got no time for that. No empathy whatsoever. But I don't understand this. So everything is matlabi in life. You can't disassociate or divorce yourself from matlabi-ness.
Yeah.
Essentially, there will be some amount of human beings that we're shit. Selfish, egoistic, cruel, and acquisitive, as Thomas Hobbes said.
I think it's an important figure. I think what she's talking about is an important thing, right? But I think that also...
So the end justifies the means, to quote
I don't know
Machiavelli.
about-
Since you're all into intellectuals.
I don't know that, right? So much. So I was... so there was somebody on Twitter, author named
No, but
Aaron
that's
Pope.
it, no, Amit. That's it. The end justifies the means. If it does, then you do whatever you do.
No, so he made an interesting point, right? He was like that basically she has become essentially, depending on what side of the issue you stand on, she's become a stand-in for your feelings. If you are against the idea of too much intervention for climate protection, then for you she has become the most strident imaginable.
Okay, I'm an advertising guy,
Right.
whatever matlabi or not. Who do I put in front of this kind of campaign? Because it's all about the future and the youth.
Yeah.
Should I go for Alok Nath? Tell me honestly.
No, you don't go for Alok.
No, then who?
But no, so again, you can...
Who symbolizes a sense of innocence, youth, vitality,
That's what I mean. The
hope, future?
scientists and researchers have not really.
That's
been
why I think we
taken
got it wrong.
seriously.
82 Asian Games with Appu the elephant. Should have gone for lighter animal. But going back to this.
Was
important issue.
just a digression. Appu
Yes,
Ghar
yes.
was named after the.
Of course.
Really?
Yeah,
In
started
Delhi, it was
1984.
like Kejriwal in the old days, or even everything was Appu for 2 years.
Okay.
Everything.
I remember
People
when
call
what
them-
is Appu?
Mr. Mehra called his wife Appu. It was like,
It was
she's so
an
large,
Asian
yaar.
Games mascot that.
You weren't
1982.
You weren't
Yeah.
born. You weren't born. In fact.
You haven't heard of Appu Ghar?
No.
I've heard of Appu Ghar, but I thought it was just like some circus or something.
So did I, but
No,
now
it all comes from Appu the elephant. He was big. He was huge.
We spent 2 days in Delhi on holiday, like when we're going somewhere, because Appu Ghar is open, we must go and see the amusement park.
Yeah.
But don't forget, those days in India, there was like 3 things. Red Fort,
it was-
Gateway of India, Appu Ghar. It was like that.
Yeah, there was no...
Now we have
amusement
Netflix, so
parks.
4 things.
Now we have Imagica.
5.
Before Magica, there was this, SL.
SL.
Hey,
Yeah.
Female kabaddi, 6.
Malad's greatest tourism draw.
Malad itself, 7.
How did we get here?
I have no idea. I took the local.
Greta, Appu Ghar.
He died
Okay,
Appu to the environment.
Quick word. Anybody thinks that is very cynical about this whole idea of
I
a
am pretty-
15,
Like, how is this,
compromised 15-year-old
I mean-
between 14 and 16?
But I don't see the problem with her being 16. I don't see.
How dare you?
I don't see what the issue
How
is.
how can you say
isn't this
that?
similar to?
Would it change if she was 18?
but
when
so-
she's
much
considered
safer.
an adult?
Here's the thing, right? It basically, she's not changing anybody's mind. Right, and are you looking at that or this, or are you looking at what is the goal over here? Is it to change people's mind, or is it to create awareness? If it's
It is to
create
save the planet, whether people's
Again,
minds
the
change or
end
not.
justifies the
People's-
means.
but if
trying
people's
to,
minds are not gonna
it's just
change, you're
trying
not saving the planet,
Amit
no?
is trying to create awareness. Like I tried to create awareness about baldness in women, but nobody took me seriously. Now all your aunts are bald. The point here is very clear. They're just trying to create awareness, and you're using something that is if I may use the word, sellable.
Right.
I know you're looking at it from a more puritanical point of view and saying it's a... Yeah, but it's not that. What do you do? You live in the modern world.
My this is exactly that only, that if you want to save the planet, you have to change minds. You're not going to do it without changing
which minds are you looking to be changed?
A lot of the people who are in power right now, right?
If it's just young people whose minds are changed, this battle is won.
No, but young people's minds are already changed. You think that
I hate young people.
Change enough to
Don't say young people so many times. You sound like the YMCA looking for people. Forget it. Not interested.
I seriously think.
Can you guys take this offline? Me and Abbas are going to sleep.
All right, okay.
We don't care about the environment enough. We do, but not so much. Can we take a break?
All right.
We'll come back with whatever's left of the world.
Filter coffee is a fascinating beverage. You need to pick the right beans, blend them in the right proportion, roast them to perfection, and slow brew at the right temperature to get the perfect cup. Which is exactly like great conversations as well. You need to track down the most interesting minds, get them into their zone, and settle down for an unhurried, unscripted chat. And coffee for me is always, always, always best enjoyed with friends. I'm Karthik Nagarajan, and do share my table as I meet some of the most interesting people I know and sit them down for a strong cup of coffee and an even stronger conversation. Join me every Wednesday for a freshly brewed episode. This is not frappe. This is the Filter Coffee Podcast.
And we're back. A freewheeling, wonderful interview between four wise heads with different thoughts. Anyway, the way I see it, Donald Trump says there's no global warming and these issues are irrelevant. And
of course he does.
I think why not? Let's just look at his point of view for 2 years and let's see how it goes after that.
Is he going to be around for 2 years?
I think so. You're the one who said it. Amit, you're the one who said it. You're the one who said they'll vote him in.
No, his impeachment hearing.
The impeachment won't happen.
Yeah.
You really think?
No, there's no chance of impeachment.
But even if he gets impeached, he doesn't go out of office.
But he's already
tagged impeached.
He's already got Hari Salve to represent him.
No. If you get impeached, you have to leave office.
And unlike
right now, they're running a trial for impeachment, right?
But wasn't Bill Clinton impeached?
Not really.
No, it was
He had an impeachment.
It was more like a caution.
But it wasn't passed.
It wasn't done.
Okay.
It was a caution because there had to be more sexual activity. It wasn't enough.
So
was that the
Nixon
reason he was
not impeached?
Yes. Under the Kama Sutra, if you look at the laws, it's page 27, Article 2B. Sorry, go on. You have the serious conversation. I'll just rant on my own.
The words are high crimes and misdemeanors or bring disrepute to the office, right? And so
so you have to be on speed or something.
Yeah.
You know,
But Donald Trump qualifies all of those.
Yeah, we know he qualified.
He doesn't drink or smoke.
But this is not new, right? So that's the thing. Donald Trump has qualified for this stuff since like day one. I mean, this is not new. And the fact is, you don't have the numbers to do this.
See, in India, if you're a leader who's under the cosh, you won't get bail, apparently.
Does
but
India
in
have
America,
a
it's
rule
different.
similar to an impeachment?
Yeah, vote of no confidence.
Right.
Yeah, but impeachment in America, since it happened once, is this old Shaman scandal.
Right.
This Nixon thing.
And even Nixon never got impeached. Now,
No, he resigned before, but he's impeached, right? He's going to lose.
So there have been 4 proceedings. This will be the 4th proceeding if it happens, right? So Andrew Jackson in like the...
When you were young.
Early
Andrew fucking Jackson.
Jesus.
This generation doesn't remember Michael fucking Jackson. You go back to Andrew fucking Stonewall Jackson, as I like to call him.
No, Mikhail didn't know Appu. So like Andrew Jackson is like...
How can you not know Appu?
Who is Appu?
Who is Appu?
Wasn't Kamal Hassan Appu for a
Who
bit?
is Kalmadi is okay. But the Commonwealth Games was his. But Asian Games was Appu. Appu was the Kalmadi in a sense without the toilet
I'm
rolls.
amazed. Yeah, actually, why would you know?
Yeah,
Appu? He was
10
just a
years
freaking
before
Because
asshole.
the branding was as big as it gets for us in
For us,
82.
exactly,
Cute.
yeah.
So I'm just hoping some recall. But his mother must speak to him, or maybe
His father, mother
you talk
must
to your
know.
parents.
His
You know.
parents
They'll
will
tell me
know
about the
Appu.
mascots of
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Asian
They
Games 10
never
years
mentioned. They never mentioned. Look at Uncle Ronnie. He looks just like Appu.
How do you know I have an Uncle Ron?
I just guessed. I told him half Mac. I've got all this shit going on. We all have the same names. There are like 10 names.
Yeah.
When you think about India.
So the cool thing about the Asian Games was that was when we first got color TV in India.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes. We all went and bought.
Cyrus's face so happy at the mention of color TV.
Because imagine we grew up in a cave with black and white TV.
One channel, black and white
One channel. You have no idea. Your Netflix generation, you have no friggin' clue. Really?
You had we
How we suffered.
literally used to like groups of people would sit and watch
This I've heard.
Chitramala.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I watched
6 songs in like 40 minutes.
I watch India-Pakistan matches where the ball and the camera don't meet ever. Never. They have no interest in each other. And they keep showing the audience, the spectators for some reason, you know, and then the commentators saying, oh, ye hawa mein ja raha hai, and we have no idea. No idea, because they're seeing people clapping and, you know, might as well have been in some other game.
When
sensory overload.
I remember when we first got a video player in my house, it used to be like a movie theater. Like every day, 20 people would come and watch movies at
my friend Adrian Ezra, 9-time national champion squash, his father bought the video without the TV. He said, first we should understand this mechanism. I couldn't believe it when he said, I got the video, I'm getting some cassettes also, but we don't have a TV yet. So I thought it was like a joke. But Adrian never joked. He never had a joke in his life. And they actually took about 6 months to get the TV. Because the dad had come up with this idea that, you know, first we'll get the video and then we'll understand it properly and then we'll, you know, move to the TV. Oh, wow.
I remember this.
I had no such
born
stories.
in 88, so I have vague
88,
memories.
Seoul Olympics.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, but you were born like...
We're going by big events in sports.
You were born like a year before like we had real satellite TV.
Yeah.
So not that...
old.
You were born a year
But I remember watching...
You were born a year before Kashmir. Went up
when
in flames.
Kashmir, that's, I mean, put it like that.
No, I'm not talking about when Shami Kapoor could run around singing Jungli and nobody cared. Hey, Shami, get out of the way, yaar! It was like that. Oh, great
I remember
days.
watching Flop Show on a black and white TV.
Beautiful show.
Yes.
Jaspal Bhatti, my favorite. All-time favorite. Do you know Jaspal?
I know Jaspal. I just didn't watch Flop Show.
You didn't watch Flop Show? Fuck off. How could I watch Flop Show? Now the words fuck off have to be used. If you call yourself a comedian and you watch Jaspal Bhatti, then
what was that show with
out.
two families that are neighbors? Both of them have like a single dad and a single mom.
What is
The
that?
Brady Bunch?
No, the Hindi show.
on
yaar.
Sony.
On Sony?
Kamaljeet and...
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
I watched that. That was the
What's it
earliest thing I
called?
watched.
That was 90s.
Nobody can remember the name.
It'll come back to us.
I remember
this
that
was
show.
90s.
I do remember that show.
Yeah. It was, because again, they want too
good
much competition.
television back then.
No, the
It was just Sony and
Hindi
Z.
comedy serials weren't too bad. The first 4 or 5.
Mind Your Language ka copy.
Saban.
Office was fabulous.
Office was good, yeah.
But before that, Ye Jo Hai Zindagi, it was not bad at all.
Like when I was a kid, what was that show where Pankaj Kapoor...
No, look at the time, Amit. Look at the time.
It was great. At the time, it was the funniest thing ever.
Jaspal Bhatti's writing is good enough now.
Ye Jo Hai Zindagi is on one of the OTTs, and I started watching it.
No, you can't go back in time. It's like watching Charlie Chaplin and all. With all due respect, it looks like your son is drinking.
Was that show big where Pankaj Kapoor eats a carrot and
Karamchand.
Because I was a kid and it said Karamchand's back and I was like, who the hell is Karamchand?
Your parents would use Karamchand as a reference, but not Appu.
No, they didn't.
I
use
want
it
your
as a
parents at the next podcast.
In the mid-
They will stand trial, and then we will give our verdict, and they will be guilty in Nuremberg.
Greta Thunberg is here.
All right, let's get to another topic because we've lost interest in this one.
All right, cool. So, sticking with prime ministers and impeachment and pollution.
Prime Minister
He's such a positive, he's such a radiant man, full of love and sunshine.
In
Go
the
on.
last Man Ki Baat, Prime Minister
Which you
Modi,
listen to and record every day.
I do
Yes,
every day,
yes.
He reiterated
It's an
why...
IBM original.
Why
I'm going to
sure.
put it on the app, though. I have to put it on the app,
Yeah.
Why?
Will we have to pay him or the government?
No, nobody. It's a free to listen to.
You think?
It's a podcast, man. Biggest podcast in the country.
Once you syndicate. Ultimately, Gujarati managed here. He'll do ting, ting.
He talked about why e-cigarettes have been banned.
But he's not the first leader.
Weirdest thing about
Because
this
of
is
Big
cigarettes.
Tobe.
Cigarettes haven't been banned. Only e-cigarettes have been.
Because now they've revealed that e-cigarettes are even more dangerous than cigarettes.
Because
but we are just copying other countries who've already rolled it back.
But what's the logic of not banning like real cigarettes which have
big
more
finance,
tobacco
finance.
in
Big
it?
Tobe, bro.
Finance, tax that
Big
you get.
Tobe.
What is big tobe?
Tax you get
Big
from
tobacco.
tax you get from tobacco and alcohol is like a country.
Right.
There's no way you can do that. Even Pakistan still has it, although they don't allow the branding. So it's like, there's no way out.
So now,
I mean, like, it's bullshit that they're banning it.
May I say something which is getting me into trouble? Sometimes I wonder if it's the worst crime.
Please do.
If it's the worst crime in the world, smoking. My friend Kunal, my father, I've seen them, chain smokers, and their moods have just changed after giving up cigarettes. And they're not as good as they were. So I think if you're going to lose 1 year of your life, or 6 months, 3 minutes a cigarette, whatever it comes to, I mean, forget it, man. Some people just seem so more comfortable. Everybody needs a crutch. You have affairs. I play with myself more than I should. Okay. Everybody has a crutch. What's the biggie?
Sure.
So maybe, I'm just saying, and please don't write into us, maybe cigarettes aren't the worst crime the world has ever seen.
Not the worst crime ever, but I mean, like, it's...
Have you started smoking again?
I...
Oh! Ho Chi Minh.
No,
Ho Chi Minh,
so
great
I'm
leader.
smoking
great
like 3 cigarettes a week.
Ho Chi Minh.
No, 3 cigarettes a week.
No pocket money for you, beta. No. This is not working. You can't. Once you do that, you've gone into that line of I'm going to cheat. And once you're going to cheat,
cheating. I am cheating.
How sad? Because you're 2 years?
About 2 years.
2 years dry and then, that's sad.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I started
back to my point.
Heartbreaking to know you can go 2 years clean and fall back again.
Yeah, that's
I'm currently
odd.
2 months clean.
Oh.
2 months clean?
Yeah.
I'm sweating.
But this covers vaping as well, right? I mean,
Yeah, this covers vaping.
Vape is terrible. You should
This is
not
going to create a
vape.
great black market where now like vapes are going to have street cred and street
No, but the
value.
problem is that
Can I
they
just
put
again-
such a big fine on anybody selling a vape. It's like more than
I
I think
think-
a fine on like selling weed
Yeah,
and shit.
yes,
But
my
when
thing.
have fines deterred the black
No, one
market?
second. I'm saying only people who pay
Fair
tax
point.
should be allowed to smoke. Okay, because we have too many people.
Right.
The world has too many people. So if you're educated enough and you have a job and you want to smoke and destroy yourself,
But
I think
people
you
who
should
smoke do
you
pay
should be
tax
allowed.
on the cigarette.
Yeah, you pay a lot of
but I'm
tax.
saying if they actually pay income tax, which means they're a sizable chunk of the community which should be, contributing to society, then they should be allowed to make that decision of live or die or lose 1 year or 6 months or cough a lot or, disturb me while I'm sleeping.
I'm going to assume that's a joke and just let that go.
I have no idea anymore. My brain works really fast and I can't rewind. Abbas, what do we do now? Are we done?
no, we have 2 more.
Two more?
Topics,
What do you think we are?
You want to do one more?
Let's do 6.
Amitabh Bachchan is getting the Dada Saheb Phalke Award.
Finally.
Unanimously
Surprise.
selected.
Okay.
As
It's amazing for me. That
I was surprised he hadn't won it.
Yeah,
yet.
it's just amazing for me growing up in the 80s that the
I'm
man
surprised it's not named after
who has
him.
dominated Bollywood more than
After-
anybody before or after,
Appu.
with due respect to Dilip Kumar, Appu and all these young actors.
He had
He should have won
he had
everything. The national award came for Agnipath 1,000 years later.
If you look at his IMDb run from like 1975 to
Yeah.
like 1986, it is ridiculous.
Again, he doesn't know anything. He's too young.
No, I know something of Amitabh.
But let me-
Amitabh was big enough to like make it.
Let me tell you how we
into
grew up. We grew up, if Amitabh Bachchan film was on, we'd go and watch it. Any other hero, we didn't watch it. It was as simple as that. There will never be a phenomenon like him.
Right.
as far as I'm
I thought
concerned.
Vinod Khanna was big.
Great. But
Rishi Kapoor
there was
was
only
big.
one, all good, but there was only one Amitabh
But,
Bachchan.
so
That's
here's the
sad
thing. It felt
truth.
like I would watch all the other guys when they're in movies with Amitabh, and then once in a while I'd go and see their other movies.
No, but that was also almost like by mistake you've gone there.
Yeah.
But here we would say, Amitabh Bachchan picture, we all go.
Yeah, no, so like-
and this is South Bombay, yeah?
That's true. I don't know where Vinod Khanna's house is actually.
Next
That
to
makes
mine.
sense.
Next to
It
mine.
is right next
4
to
buildings
yours.
away.
Yeah.
But it's much more expensive. But then he's got more talent, better looking. And out of the 2 sons, 1 works. So, no, both work.
Which one are you talking about?
I'm just kidding. The lovely boys. Yeah. All right. Are we done?
You think this is his like payback for him
What are you,
promoting
the serious broadcast to bring us down to our knees all the time?
him promoting the government schemes? So
No,
this
no,
is
no,
like this
dude,
is
I
a-
mean,
Maybe to some extent it doesn't hurt, but having said that,
Dude, he's
I
Amitabh
can't believe.
Bachchan.
Yeah,
Of course, yeah.
I think they should have given him all the awards in one day
Yeah.
and ended it and then moved on. I mean, one day when they write the history of Bollywood,
Yeah.
you'll, in perspective, you'll realize just how big he
No,
was.
it's really unbelievable. Like, I mean, like the degree of fame that this guy had at that time, it's kind of.
And if you could hear the claps that would happen, like, in one of his films, say Lavaris or something, when he makes his entrance, or Nastik, I remember, was a very dramatic entrance with feet and all that. I mean, it's just overdone melodrama, but it just, everybody would be like pumped up.
We think of Salman Khan as having this crazy
Yeah.
following today. It's nothing. It's nothing compared to what
And
Amitabh
because
was.
Amitabh was everywhere, north, south, east, west, all over. Everybody.
I've heard stories that he ran one election, right?
He
That
did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
when he
he
went to
was MP.
campaign in Allahabad,
Yeah.
like women covered the road with their dupatta so that his feet don't hit the ground. Like,
No,
that's-
like if you're talking about
Well,
stars,
my aunt who lives there, she's just clumsy. But you're right. But the rest, yeah.
I heard once that who was that actor from the 50s who would shake his head constantly?
Devanand.
No.
Devanand.
There's
Who's,
another-
who's Akshay Kumar's father-in-law?
Rajesh Khanna, yes, both of them.
Rajesh
He's
Yeah.
not from the
was huge.
50s, he was from the 70s.
Yeah.
Okay, but Rajesh Khanna was huge apparently.
How does it matter to him who doesn't know Appu in 82? You think he really
Anything
cares?
before 90s is
No,
like
see, Rajesh Khanna had a 3-4 year run where he was like women writing in
Yeah,
blood to him.
apparently.
Yeah, he was like-
no doubt.
Salman
Then-
Khan was once asked
Yeah.
about like, oh, you're so big, how does it feel to be so big? He was like, bro, I'm nothing. I once saw Rajesh Khanna walk, and
Yeah.
women who saw him walk, they went to his footstep, picked up that mud, and like put it on their forehead. So
Correct.
like, I don't think I'm anything. And I was like, who is this guy, man?
Yeah.
Rajesh Khanna
So
was
then
a
imagine
big
where
deal, man.
Bachchan went after that and then where I am after that. So, how that's all in perspective now. Yeah. All right, are we
Yeah,
done?
let's go to the AMAs.
Let's go to the AMAs. It's damn boring, man. All you guys talk about is Bollywood.
I know,
Bollywood.
we're such a Bollywood center.
What about rugby?
Oof. Rugby, World Cup coming up.
It's happening.
It is, as we speak. But here's the AMAs.
Hey everybody, you know what we've got? We've got another awesome week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please make sure you do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So if you haven't been following us on YouTube, please do a search for IVM CCTV and get a peek inside what's going on in the studio. You can see excerpts from Cyrus Says, Naveen from Keeping It Queer, Akash from Varta Lab. There's stuff that we've done with Feeding 10 Billion. There are a whole bunch of little videos over there. Give it a watch and let us know what you think about that. On the scene and the unseen, Amit Verma is joined by journalists Barun Mitra and Kumar Anand to discuss the crisis in agriculture. On Agla Station Adulthood, hosts Ayushi and Ritasha discuss various interpretations of beauty and also share some amazing skincare routines. On Feeding 10 Billion, Ramya and Varun talk to Dr. Sandhya Sriram of Shiok Meats about bringing cell-based shrimp to our restaurants. On 9XM Soundcast, Eva is joined by the incredible music composer duo Vishal and Shekhar. They talk about the process of creating a soundtrack and give their views about the remix trend in Bollywood. On the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast, Ashwin and DJ conclude the Ashes and talk about the failure of Indian middle order in the T20s. On the Kinetic Living Podcast, Coach Urmi shares a workout called Arc Planks on Tabata Tuesdays. On Thriving Thursdays, she shares her journey towards building kinetic living and the challenges that she faced. On Varta Lab, Akash and Naveen are joined by Shashwat Bulusu, a singer-songwriter from Baroda who is pushing the sonic aesthetic of guitar-centric laid-back pop. On Geek Fruit, Dinkar and Jishnu talk about pop culture that revolves around the apocalypse and tell us how they would ideally prepare for it. On Football Shutball, hosts Gaurav, Karthik and Siva bring to you the post-match reactions of their favorite fixture of the year, Manchester United versus Arsenal. That's no surprise to anybody. And with that, let's get you on with your show.
If you have any questions for Cyrus, write to us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Or you can send an email to whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
All right, back here on the AMAs. Everybody's so excited to be on this show. Mikhail having an orgasm. Amit waking up slowly. Yes. Abbas, what do we have in the AMAs?
Why is Abbas not having anything?
Abbas is against sex.
Okay. Yeah. I'm celibate.
Yeah. Okay, not celibate, just against sex. He walks out when anybody else starts it. Yeah.
This one comes
do you stick around when someone else starts it?
I'm always with him. I'm documenting his life. Okay. Rubaina, are you ready? Yes! Abbas, I love you. And
who's Rubaina?
Yeah,
that's such a weird name.
I love that name.
Of course. This one comes from Pavitra.
You want to marry out?
Out as in?
The community.
Out of the community? Yeah, I don't mind.
At least in fantasy? Okay, ready. Let's do it again.
I think that was a very tough question for Abbas.
Abbas, ready? Raju!
Okay, this one comes from Pavitra. Pavitra says, greetings to the Cyrus team. It's been 3 years since I started listening and listening has made me very happy. I have two questions.
Scary.
One, despite being in college, I don't have any social media accounts. I used to, but not anymore. Then I heard Amit say on an episode that the alma mater checks for social media too. Do I need to invest my time on social media?
What?
What?
Alma mater of the college checks for whether you're online, whether you have social media presence.
Right.
What does that mean?
No, so I think
why would they do that?
No, I think she's talking about in context of. So some colleges will basically monitor social media in terms of what the student body is doing. And
your views.
Well, yeah, all kinds of stuff. Depending on how.
Oh my God! The Iron Curtain is back.
Depending on what kind of college it is, right? So in some cases it's that. Some cases what also happens.
So if you don't have a social media presence, is that negative?
I
or
think
neutral?
It's actually positive, right? Yeah. Because if you don't have a media,
you're safe. They can't judge you.
Yeah.
They can't judge you.
They can make it compulsory for you to have social media.
Yeah, but interesting that in this day and age, a girl has actually turned her back on in college on social media.
It's increasingly happening. People are just It's
too exposed.
It's too much. Yeah, it's just so much happening. You have to be on Snapchat, you have to be on Instagram, you have to have a strategy for Instagram, you have to have a strategy for Twitter.
Guys, we're all in the content business, right? Not everybody.
We are in the content business, but people who are not.
I mean, even the kids, like my kids at home, and when they come and visit, they're always just posting things and all. Maybe not with the strategic eye that Mikhail has, but they are my Mikhail and not your Mikhail. But you know, they're doing it, competitive or not.
No, they
in a way, competitive only, right? Because
it is competitive. It's competitive. It's also, it's gossip, right? I mean, like, it's the water cooler for kids.
Absolutely. It's very dangerous
grapevine.
For Indian society and aesthetics, because lots of Indian men are taking off their clothes just to appear more interesting. It's not working for me. Not working for me. And I'm not talking about that man who sells all the products.
Which Amitabh Bachchan?
No.
Virat Kohli.
No.
The one who does yoga.
Yes!
Oh, okay.
Doshi, you're my only... my audience is limited to you now. I'm so fucking intelligent, I can't get anybody to watch.
No, but social media has also been used for these challenges and stuff, which...
which is getting a bit tragic. Much. I don't know what the move challenge is, but why do you do it? What's happening.
You do it so that you get popular?
What is the move channel?
News channel something.
Okay, so pay, but even with intangible popular, without the pay attached.
Yeah, it keeps you relevant.
Because you're relevant, and suddenly everybody talks about you in college or around your...
That's what it is, right? It is about what the Joneses are saying, right?
That's what. Really so how do you change that? You can't change that.
You can't change that because, dude, when people are using social media to do this right now, remember you were telling us that story about how you did push-ups and ate like some milk off the ground of some thing.
Yeah, no. So I as a challenge, just to impress the girls in Xavier's. Xavier, right, no?
Yeah.
So somebody dropped milk on the ground while drinking chai or whatever.
Yuck, man.
So I said, I'll lick that like a cat. Impossible. So all the chicks were watching, and I was the first year junior college. Rambo.
First year junior college.
Listen, bro, I licked it, and they were repulsed.
Yeah, obviously. But how are you saying this as like a twist in the story?
I didn't. None of the idiot cute boys said, Brocha, you never get a girl. Never do that. That was the worst idea.
So the moral of the story is with or without social media.
We'll still be chutes. Yeah. Good point.
That's the moral of the story.
There ain't no cure for us.
Hey, don't throw shade at Greta, man. Come on.
She's 14, huh? Do the maths.
16.
Our whole show was what age is Greta. That was the context of our show, if you listen. Yeah.
That's actually quite creepy.
Yeah.
Basically, if Pavitra...
Four men discussing a teenager growing fast. Yeah, sorry?
If Pavitra is not on social media, it's not essential to be on. That's the...
No, but from the point of view of
in fact,
what
it's
he's
quite cool,
saying.
actually. When a person is not on social media, you're like...
Takes a lot of guts.
Because now you're used to knowing that much about a person. And if they're not on social media, it doesn't matter. You still want to know that much.
So she's the one behind the veil. Nobody knows anything about her. So she's more interesting for a lot of people.
She's Pavitra. She's not behind the veil.
Pavitra. Ha.
Rubaina would be behind the veil.
Stop it. I'll call Raju back, and this time he'll,
Okay,
won't take no.
Her second question is, have you guys seen the show Blackish, and what do you think about it?
I'm not a big Anthony Anderson fan. I
actually like Anthony Anderson, but I like him more in Law and Order than I like him in Blackish.
Blackish didn't do it for me. It's just too much.
I liked it. It was okay. But too much woke is also tiring, man.
For me, it's so I think the central characters have to be very endearing for you to enjoy a show after a period of time. Yeah. So like Seinfeld, Raymond, all these things, you like at least I like the guys, so it's fine.
Really?
Guys
like
and
Seinfeld
girls.
Seinfeld characters are assholes.
Seinfeld characters
but that's exactly the
my
kind of character you
favorite
like.
characters. I mean, George sitting there at the job, shutting the thing and looking at the clock, going to sleep, waking up at 5 and leaving. I mean, that's just genius, man. I mean, oh God, I love Larry David.
I like Seinfeld. I enjoy Seinfeld, but Seinfeld, the characters are assholes.
No, they're great.
But that's the point. That a good character is an asshole.
It's not him.
Not all of them.
I'm saying that
I don't mean you have to be a Hitler kind of asshole. You have to just be an imperfect person.
Yeah. Well, I know. I mean, there are lots. I like Parks and Recreation a lot.
Yeah, it's a great show.
I like Parks and Recreation.
These are shows.
You wouldn't find them to be the same
Adam
show.
Sandberg,
They're somewhat the same. So one is in the Parks Department, one's in the Police Department.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like The Good Place is in heaven.
No, but Adam Sandberg dominates that show a little bit.
Yeah.
While in the other show, everybody's almost equal. There's 4-5 strong characters.
Leslie, I think, is very much the lead.
Okay, fair enough.
Ron Swanson is great. Aziz Ansari's
they all leave their
character.
mark. Yeah. So again, in Seinfeld, Jerry Seinfeld doesn't dominate the show. All 4 characters are almost by the end of it, season 10 or whatever.
It's fairly equivalent. Yeah, I guess that's true.
Even Babu, who's actually not even Pakistani, but who cared?
Yeah, Mikhail, you mentioned it doesn't have to be an asshole like Hitler, right? Did you know in 1990 they shot a pilot called Heil Honey, I'm Home. It was a sitcom where Hitler and his wife, it's a sitcom around their family and their neighbors are Jewish. That was the entire premise. And the Jewish family has to hide the fact that they are Jewish so as to not get caught by Hitler.
Did this ever go to see?
No, of course not.
But I would watch it.
I mean, have you guys ever heard of the show Hogan's Heroes?
Exactly.
No.
I haven't.
What is Hulk Hogan's family show called?
That's Hogan knows best.
They're too young for this podcast.
So
can we remove them?
Is a...
Oh, now you're going to tell them Hogan's Heroes.
I don't know. One line
15 minutes of Hogan's Heroes.
Not 15 minutes.
Just
1 minute.
Nazi parody is already done.
So it's a show which is set in a
camp.
Concentration camp where
I would have just said camp, but okay, fine.
A concentration camp, and it's about Nazis and the prisoners of wars, and it's a sitcom.
So what are the socials?
I want to watch that actually.
Mikhail, what were the socials like in the camp, for example? Girls this side, showers that side. Okay, sorry. Take it wrong. I apologize.
I'm sure you've heard the term Colonel Clink.
No.
Just pretend. Never say no.
Right.
Oh shit.
I've heard of Archie Bunker. I haven't heard of...
Archie Bunker is All in the Family.
Yeah.
They did a live of that, right? So they did one episode live of it with Woody Harrelson as Archie Bunker and Marissa Tomei. Yeah, like a year ago.
Oh my God, I love Marissa Tomei.
Yeah, Marissa Tomei played Edith the wife. Woody Harrelson played...
I mean, if there was no Me Too
husband.
charges against me, I would talk about it.
So this was really interesting. I just found out about this yesterday. They did...
Sorry, I'm just thinking of Marissa. I'll just make it sound. While you pontificate, I'm going to make sounds, okay?
Understand.
Wow.
But they did this. They did this 2-episode series. One episode of All in the Family, one episode of the Jeffersons. Right. So they had Jamie Foxx playing the Jeffersons guy. With
so what is the point of this? Like turning it on its head?
So it was a live. No, it was like a one episode live. So it was like a 1.5 hour live program, and that's what network.
But years after it closed down.
Yeah. Like this year.
So Mikhail could enjoy it.
The All in the Family episodes from 1973.
So who watches it? People from that generation would like to watch it again, or
it's everybody, right? It's nostalgia also, but it's also you have Woody Harrelson and you have Jamie Foxx and Marissa Tomei and Kelly Washington. And,
no, I'm reading a book about American television, so which mentions that Archie Bunker was the first gun-toting Republican to be on primetime TV. He was like a precursor to Tony Soprano and Walter White and all these white anti-heroes.
You're reading Steppenwolf's book?
No, Emily Nussbaum.
Huh?
Emily Nussbaum, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, not Indian.
The first part of his name is S.
This one comes from Sapna Kati. First of all, I love your podcast. I listen to the Cock and Bull episodes twice every week religiously, and I end up
Are we that complex? It's Hamlet and radio.
And I end up laughing alone like an idiot while others in the office wonder what is wrong with me. Cyrus is...
That is funny. It's a meeting with two people being laid off and you're going...
Cyrus is insanely talented and it's probably why he can get away with saying the most outrageous shit the way he does.
Beautiful person.
Abbas and Amit, you guys really do have your work cut out for you, reining him in. But has it ever happened that a guest on the podcast gave Cyrus a run for his money and he has had to do what you usually do?
We've had lots of motor mouths. It's not like we haven't had. We've had a few. Mikhail?
I'm a motor mouth?
You don't stop talking. Look at this. 55 minutes. We've answered one question. Even the Prime Minister does it in 40. I mean, this is
55 minutes, including the previous recording.
It's all right. It's just a technicality. As I told Narendra Goel.
But who do you think? Can you remember anybody who talked a lot?
There are plenty. The boy, the Tej, whatever, he talked a lot. For example.
It's not uncommon. Yeah, it's not uncommon.
What do you think? There are lots of people who want to listen to themselves.
That is true.
People love the sound of their voice.
Podcast is all about that.
I know.
It's bouncing
off.
off.
Sitting with headphones talking in mics.
Well, what he's probably asking is that anyone who's being upset, irritated, or wants to fight, we haven't had too much of that. Because that can happen also.
But I think we've been pretty okay with that. I don't think we've had.
Nobody pays attention to me after 5 minutes, so I'm off the hook here.
Okay, let's do one last one since we have talked about last one.
I'll have to start shaving. The day is past.
You're like a baby that has to be fed. It's constantly told just one more.
Actually, I am like a baby. I want to pee.
Karan Sethi, this comes from Dear Cyrus, Abbas and Amit and the rest of the team.
Remember the name. Just pretend.
Possible. Yeah, sure, of course. Of course, Karan. Karan is a long time listener.
I think Jubilee of Karan's emails.
Karan's a smart guy and he has great taste.
But he's going to sponsor us?
No, but
so overdo it.
Okay.
Did you ever watch the show Office starring Pankaj Kapoor? If yes, what do you think about it? That's why what are your favorite Indian comedy shows?
Oh no, we discussed Jaspal Bhatti. Just the writing is spectacular. Real satire. I'll never forget some of the episodes quickly.
I watched a few sketches, they were quite good.
No, just think of the premise, okay? There's one where he wants to be a chief guest because he can't get a job. So he's a professional chief guest. And like an idiot, he comes in at 6 for a 6 o'clock call time. And they give him the hammer and nail and tell him to start helping. It's too early. Chief guest abhi nahi aa sakta. Ye time pe, side time pe chief guest kabhi nahi aayega. So, just beautifully etched. The writing is fantastic and the deadpan style that he and his wife have, and I think there was one more actor. The three of them basically were the nucleus. They're fabulous, way ahead of their time. Super.
My favorite episode was...
I'm so sad I never got to actually meet him in person because he was around for some time. And then unfortunately... But so big. Sorry, you were saying?
What was I saying?
No, I was saying my favorite episode was one where the rats ate all the files in an office.
Yeah.
And that was the entire conflict of the show.
Yeah.
That the files have been eaten by rats, so we have to rein in the rats in the office.
It's like Larry David, you can see the madness in the mind. That's fantastic, I think too much time our comedians, after that, a lot of them the whole thing is just so loud that, it's like they just have to dress and drag like Kunal and do stupid things like that. But, so this writing was fresh for its time and lovely.
Is Kunal in drag on your new show?
Oh, yeah, he has to be. It's a government regulation. Check Man Ki Baat. It's there. It's mentioned. Nothing I can do. I don't want it. He also doesn't want it. Believe me, nobody wants to be in drag. There's no one around. I think I'll just wear a sari. That'll be great fun. No.
What date is the show?
6th October, Tata, NCPA. Tickets are really cheap.
Can you say that again?
6th October, Tata, NCPA, parking available.
Okay. Just want to check.
Yeah, all right. And I'm giving free tickets to anyone who comes early.
Is that Godrej Theatre?
No, that's too small. So Kunal, we have to fit him in the theatre. Yeah, right next to that.
Tata is like the main big one, the 1500 seat.
There you go. Well, it's more like 1100, but
okay.
If 1500 come, we'll figure
where
something out.
Aziz Ansari performed.
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
But we are more expensive than that. Twit. Yeah. All right.
Let's plug Mikhail's show.
Mikhail, your show.
Yeah. What a player. Every Wednesday.
I thought
discuss
Godrej,
all sports.
Which is exclusively shot at Godrej Theatre. No. Yeah, all right.
We will discuss the Rugby World Cup this time. I'm wearing a rugby shirt very often.
Yeah, but I wear the same shirt.
No, but did you play rugby?
Right now?
No, ever.
No, it's not my game. But I like to watch it.
Oh, I just discovered it this World Cup.
I have played it, but I don't like it. Because you get injured all the time.
Yeah,
you can't lift weights. No, the type of people who don't get injured or the injuries heal fast. If you want like Nasir Hussain the cricketer and you just get injured, or Chandrapal the cricketer, they're just people who get injured very quickly. It's dangerous.
Yeah,
so you can't masturbate, for example, if your right wrist goes.
What about the left wrist?
I'm too limp, both ways.
Okay. I just thought I would change your world by saying you have another hand.
Too much information? Too much information? I use both at the same time.
That's laborious, man.
That's part of the act. Tata Theatres, 7 o'clock, 6th October. Be there. Yeah, all right. Thanks, Mikhail.
Hey, thank you for having me, man.
No, I'm just saying it. Obligatory. Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me. Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps. Please, we beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
And that's what Cyrus says.
Do you wish you were smarter? Well, so do we. But the next best thing?
We could make you sound smarter.
And to help you with this endeavor, we are Simplified, a podcast that attempts to break down the complex world around you with a little knowledge, a lot of poor jokes, and a ton of random trivia.
Episodes out every Monday.
On the IVM podcast app or wherever you get your podcasts.
See ya!
Who said healthy food is boring? Who said raw veggies is just salads? Who said eating fats makes you fat? Look forward to my recommendations on healthy food and exercise hacks on the Kinetic Living podcast with me, Coach Urmi, every Wednesday on the IVM app, website, and anywhere you get your podcast from.